All right, everybody, welcome back to the Lions Pit podcast. I am your host, Nick Gomez. With me today is my good friend, Samson Odusanya. Appreciate you coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah, this is something I've been looking forward to for a while now. I've been seeing you around the gym the last, what, 2 years, 3 years? Yeah, hanging around on it, and always like pleasant interactions when I see you. Always like meaningful, like good eye contact, like good handshake, which, you don't always get with everyone, which is fine.
Yeah.
But like you're a very intentional person and very well spoken, and someone that, again, knowing your wife a little bit,
Yeah.
and having conversations with her, I was like, yeah, I really want to talk to Samson and kind of open up that book and see what it's about.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Yeah.
Yeah, morning's going well.
Morning's going well. Had a great sauna session at On It before heading here. Yeah, I'm doing good. Yep.
Nice, man. Happy to hear it. Now you have a podcast, correct?
I do not yet.
Okay, I saw you because I saw a video you posted recently. I mean, it was just so well done, and I honestly thought it was like a clip from a podcast. And you're
Yeah.
speaking about in a past life or a past job that you were really
Mhm.
exposed to like death, and it kind of made you numb to it in a sense.
Mhm.
And that was kind of something I wanted to ask about as well. Because again, I feel like based off of our conversations
Yeah.
and conversations with Nicole, your wife, like I said, I feel like you have a really interesting story and a story that could probably help a lot of people.
Yeah.
And again, that's the whole idea behind the
Yeah.
podcast is trying to help people and give people, like, again, hope and see that there's light at the end of the tunnel and
Yeah.
kind of be a beacon of light.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the job that you worked in the past?
So I worked in the hospital for 7 years. First as a patient sitter, which encompassed tending to kind of sitting with patients who are either coming off of alcohol withdrawal, drug withdrawal, or just were, posed a harm to themselves or others. So, which kind of brought me into the world of realizing, like, seeing the other side of essentially, the effects of something like alcohol, drugs, and seeing the effects it had on people coming off. And it was intense. And then transferred to transport, and then spent the last 3 or 4 years being an ER tech.
Mhm.
And I think I was 19 or yeah, almost 20 when I got the call. I was like, hey, gotta transfer this body to the morgue. And I was like,
Oh, wow.
oh, okay. So I get to the room and they had already wrapped it up. So it was just a body bag and, typical fashion, we pull the body into the gurney and we transport it to the morgue. Now, I was the only one that day, and I remember being in the service elevator, just like staring at the body.
Wow.
And I'm in my head, and I'm pretty reflective at this point, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, how were you as a young man at that time?
Yeah, I'm already pretty reflective, and I'll kind of share kind of like my journey leading up to what made me more, at least started the journey with like my own self-reflection. And I'm standing there. I was like, this person just was full of life, and now they're not. Okay, so we transported it there, and then as I became an ER tech, my job involved more of that. Now, at a more close basis, more intimate basis, where if somebody were coding, which is they're dying,
Hmm.
part of my job was to do CPR and try to resuscitate them.
Yeah.
And many, I was part of many people's final moments as they were transitioning. And you know, to watch somebody, and I've seen it, like, we didn't need science to prove it, but like, how they say the soul leaves the body. I've literally seen it so
Yeah.
many times. How someone is fighting for their life as I'm doing CPR and they take their final breath and they're gone. And it just made me, first and foremost, it made me present. Like, if you need anything that is sobering, to watch somebody die, that literally pulls everything that does not matter, and it pulls you into into the present moment. It makes you so sober to like what you have, like what your life is. And I always say death was one of my greatest teachers,
Yeah.
especially in that job description. But to the point of what you were sharing is what I shared, I became numb to
Yeah.
it because it was such a, and it's sad to say, it was a normal.
Yeah.
I don't think people really understand the world of like what happens in an environment like that. And I was in a level 1 trauma center. So we Philadelphia, like we got gunshots, we
Oh
got
yeah.
we got yeah, terrible accidents. Like I anything you could see like on a freaking Freddy versus Jason movie, I've seen
Yeah.
it all.
Yeah.
So there was just so much trauma.
Philly's wild.
Yeah, there was just so much trauma that I think instinctually I just learned to just block it because it was just so intense. And over the years, I realized that I'm a sensitive individual, so I feel a lot. And I saw how like if I felt that, it would have definitely broke me.
Yeah.
So over time, and it's not just me, like, EMTs, nurses, doctors, probably like ex veterans, I think they all share this similar experience of just numbing themselves because to feel in that moment would literally interrupt my ability to support that person. But yeah, it was tough, man.
Yeah. Couple things you said I find really very interesting and then also resonate really heavy
Yeah.
with me. When you talk about like seeing the soul leave the body, before we had the camera rolling and in past episodes I've shared the story about
Yeah.
doing CPR on my dad. And it was one of those things like that's the only time in my life I've ever had to do CPR, but it
Mm.
was a very like intimate and intense situation. And I don't think anyone should ever have to like do that with the man that raised them.
Yeah.
But I remember we lived right behind a fire department, and within 5 minutes, EMTs were there, and they were great. Like they tried to do like the adrenaline injection. They did everything
Yeah.
they could. But I remember in the back of my mind, kind of having like an internal clock of like, okay, my dad's been this long without oxygen. And then B, I see when I was there when they took him out on the stretcher,
Mm.
and they're still trying to work on him, and everyone else in my family was still having hope at that moment. But I remember seeing him come out in the stretcher, and he looked paler already. My dad was Columbia, so a little darker
Yeah.
complexion than
Yeah.
me. But I remember when he went out on the stretcher, I was like, "That's not my dad anymore."
You knew.
Yeah, I was like, "That's a vessel that used to be my dad."
You
But
knew.
yeah, his presence isn't there anymore. Yeah, I knew for sure. And then I've shared this before, but we in the waiting room at the hospital, like
Mm.
my family's all on pins and needles, and I was just sitting there waiting, and the doctor comes in. They're asking like, "Hey, who was there? What happened?"
Mm.
And then they're like, "Unfortunately, that he didn't make it." And that's when everyone in my family broke down. But I was very numb to it. Like I was like, "Okay, like what do I do now?"
Yeah.
And I've always thought like I probably would have lost it if they said he survived. Because again, in the back of my mind, I had that internal clock going about
Yeah.
like how he was without oxygen, and again, seeing his body go out on the stretcher, I was like, he's gone. That's
Yeah.
not him
Yeah.
anymore. But yeah, you do become very desensitized to it, and not desensitized, but like again, numb. And for me, it was probably more shock than anything. I was 21 at the time. And I was having this conversation with my best friend back home. His brother passed away. I want to say in 2020,
Mm.
pretty bad car accident.
Mm.
And he called me the other day, and he's an old country boy, like tough as nails. Like if there's anyone I'd want my back in a fight, like he's the dude I call. And he's like 5'6", 130 pounds, little dude, but he can scrap. And he calls me, yeah, he calls me, and I could tell he's like upset, and he's like, dude, I had to put my dog down.
Mm.
And I'm like, isn't it wild how like you feel more for your dog? Because my dog passed away almost 2 years ago now. I remember telling him, I'm like, dude, when I was kind of numb, and I think it was because I went into shock when my dad passed. But when my
Yeah.
dog passed, like I was in there in that moment, and it hit, and it brought back so many old emotions.
Yeah.
And it was just something that not a lot of people should have to deal with it, and probably not a lot of people can. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I've always been a firm believer that God put me there that day for a reason.
Yeah. You ushered him into the other side.
Yeah, and like, I like to think that like the last breaths that were in his lungs, like I put there, and
Mm.
it's something that like I get to share that moment with my dad. His last words were with me, like
Mm.
his last conversations were with me, and they were joking and they were loving, and something that, we were talking about golf, something that him and I got to do all the time. And so it was, again, those are things that I really get to like hold on to and
Yeah.
enjoy. But I also know that, as much as I love all my other family members, and like my siblings are very strong individuals in their own way, they would have struggled a lot more than I did. Like, I went numb for a couple years after he passed away, like, to be honest with you, like, the lessons I learned that day took a couple years to, like, really
Mhm.
sprout. But, some of my siblings that weren't even there that day, had some hard times afterwards with,
Mhm.
like, some substances, and it's one of those things I was like, "Alright, God put me there for a reason that day."
Yeah. Yeah. You said something that I noticed that I would witness a lot, and it was something that I realized immediately. It's like we have these bodies, and then without the soul and the spirit in them, like I literally saw how the body was just like literally just a vehicle. It was a costume almost.
Yeah.
Once that person or that soul left,
Yeah.
it was just a bare body. And I think that I was wrestling with so much of that versus also having a conversation with someone in triage, and we're talking about how their day went, and the next 5 minutes I'm doing CPR on them and they're gone.
Yeah.
So there were just so many of those moments that, even though, yeah, I experienced like being numb to it, but it also like reminded me how fragile things are.
Mhm.
Right. So I think that's where also a lot of my like presence comes from, because I've seen it just shift like that so many
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can, and I've had this conversation as well, like with, younger individuals
Yeah.
particularly, that are, like, kinda, like, spinning their wheels, like, not doing anything. I'm like, "Dude, you don't realize how quickly this could all end." Like, you don't realize, like, you
So fragile.
it's so fragile. Like, we all like to think we're bulletproof, especially, like, in the gym setting or in the health industry. Like, there's always a saying like, "Oh, strong people are hard to kill." Not when it comes to 90% of things out there. Like, you're not hard to kill if you step out in front of a bus. You know what I mean? Like, so it's one of those things like you don't understand, or you do, obviously. When I say you, I say a
Yeah.
general painting
Yeah.
of you. Um, People don't understand like how fragile this life is and how quick it can all end. You can be the healthiest, most happiest person, and literally the next minute be not on this earth anymore.
I think there's a reason why that is too. And it's, again, it's death, and it's something that I've been sitting with. I speak about it, but I don't speak about it as often. And I've been really like meditating on bringing this conversation to the forefront more, because I think in our society, Western wise, right? I don't know if it's intentional. I don't know if it's conscious. I also know that there is a there is a deep reason for it, like unconscious reason for it, but we hide death. And because it's not on the forefront, not in a traumatic way, but like we know, like many societies, they had a reverence for death because they knew that it was the counterpart of what life is. So they knew that death was coming, and it made them more present to living a life that's more full.
Hmm.
But if we look at how our society is set up right now, one, we hide death, so we don't really talk about it, right? We almost act like it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So when it does happen, we're shocked. Two, where are the elders at? So we idle
Yeah.
our old people,
Yeah.
right? Three, we want to hide our wrinkles. We don't want to age. And, you know, I again, I just reflect on that a lot. And I think a lot of it does have to do with, one, we're innately wired for survival. So I don't think we don't want to die,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But to avoid it is to, I think it sucks the life out of people,
Yeah.
and that's what I've learned. That's what I've truly learned. So I think that's why people don't realize how fragile it is because we keep death at a distance.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a great question. Like, where are the elders? Because it's tale as old as time. Like the news anchor that as soon as she turns 30, like they find a younger version of her, or we're putting our grandparents or our parents in
Nursing
homes.
homes. Yep.
Yeah, and it's like, no, 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 like that they share valuable lessons, and also they bring to the forefront the
Yes.
fragility of life. Like
Yes.
this is something that can again be gone in an instant, but
Yes.
also there's lessons to be learned there.
Yeah.
And I don't ever like when I say this, what I'm about to say, like I don't ever mean for it to sound like grim, but it's like if my dad didn't pass away, I wouldn't be who I am today. And
It's truth.
I think my dad would have taken that sacrifice.
Mm.
And whether that's God's plan or whatever the case may be, if my dad were to see who I am today versus maybe who I could have been
Mm.
if I never had to deal with that and I never had to step up and be a leader of my family, like who knows,
Yeah.
And again, I love my dad dearly. Like if there's anything I could have on this earth, I'd play one more round of golf with him.
Yeah.
But I think if he could see who I am and who I'm becoming, I think he'd be like, okay, like let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the reality is, you know, uh, it was supposed to happen because it happened.
Yeah.
No, like if it wasn't, it wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'm big in my faith. You know, my relationship with God is everything to me, and it is one of those things, like I said, I was there for a reason,
Mm,
and I was meant to experience that, and I was meant to, have those moments with my
mm,
dad,
mm.
and I always joke, especially, like, it's kind of a funnier joke with my family, but I always say I'm the favorite son of the favorite son. You know what I mean? Because yeah, my dad was the life of the party, like, everybody
Yeah.
loved my dad. He was such a good guy, such a warm energy, and as was his mom, my grandma, who, passed away last December, like, she was just,
Mm,
like, the warmth that that woman provided in her hug and her touch and her voice, like, was one of those things that I will always remember about her,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and, you know, unfortunately, her last few I mean, she lived to 97, so that's a hell of a run.
Yeah.
But the last few years, like, she wasn't really talking much, and,
Mm.
my cousin that was, he's Colombian as well, he would always say, like, "I think her pacemaker is just keeping her alive." He's like, "That thing's just not giving out on her, and that's why she's still here." And it's
Or I mean, she's a fighter, bro.
yeah, yeah, I mean, she was, again, just such a beautiful presence, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's seems to be like there's fewer and fewer of those today, but when you recognize it, it's something to, like, truly cherish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
So you say that you were already, like, a reflective young man at that
Hmm.
time. Was that a journey you had started before, or
No. No. I knew when I was 8 years young that I loved people. I would sit and just people watch. Very curious. I'm like, okay, what's happening within them? What's that person thinking? But the self-reflective journey started after high school.
okay.
So you talk about the lion's pit, kind of like what was your lion story? Or
Yeah.
I had many of them actually. I mean, the first one was my parents separating when I was 4. But to to answer your question, um, so junior year of high school, we were going through financial troubles at home. So, and it was very feast and famine type of relationship when it came to money. Like we had it, and then we weren't smart about it, so we lost it. And then we had it again. We were homeless twice. So,
Oh, wow.
I share that with you as well.
Wild.
Um, and yeah, this time I think we were good. So I'm grateful to grow up, in the household that I did because our values and principles were rooted in God,
Mhm.
family. We were grateful. Obviously, there were some things that could have been better, right? But when I look back, I really cherish, like, okay, like I now see why my mom really hit home with this certain lesson or this certain principle.
Yeah.
So junior year, we were going through challenges at home, and so I would sell candy just to make money. And for the longest, I think when I first put my entrepreneurial skills to the test, we lived in New York, and I would go to the corner store and buy, you know, the the high fructose corn syrup filled ice pops.
Oh
Hey,
gosh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then, or maybe they weren't, because back in the day, that really wasn't a
That might
thing.
yeah, that would say
Yeah,
that might have been real sugar.
it's just pure sugar, right? I'll buy them for a quarter and then flip them for 50 cents or 75 cents. And this
Nice.
was like 7 years old. So I sold candy at high school, and it was pretty lucrative. I mean, make 20, $40 a day. That's a lot of
Wow,
money in
yeah.
high school, right?
Yeah, especially for a young man.
Yeah. So my mom would drop off my supply if I needed more. And it's one of those days where something was in the air.
Yeah.
So I get home after school, my stepdad's sitting on the bed, and you can feel my mom's presence. You can hear her from 5 miles away. She wasn't home. I'm like, okay. And I know she didn't go out. So the first question I asked my stepdad, I was like, hey, where's she at? And he was like, they came to pick her up. I was like, who? He said immigration.
Oh, no.
So since 2005 of January, my mom was deported.
Whoa.
Right.
Where from?
Nigeria.
Nigeria, okay.
And I'm still not clear on like the reasons why. I think it was probably like documentation, and yeah, but she got deported, and my brother's 2 years old. My younger sister is 6, and the other one is 8.
How
And
old
I'm
are you at this time? You're in high school?
17.
17, okay.
My stepdad's there. That was like, yeah, that was like a massive, like, gut punch to the entire family,
Yeah,
because she was like the matriarch. Like
for
she
sure.
was right. She was
She's the
everything to our
queen.
family. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she wasn't there. And I remember just going into this, at first it was confusion, but something in me, I don't know what it was, like forced me to have to step up,
Yeah.
because I have my younger siblings who now don't have the nurturing support of my mom. My stepdad now had to realize, okay, now I have to work twice as much to support the family.
Your stepdad, is he the blood father of your younger siblings?
Yes,
Okay,
yes. So my mom remarried.
gotcha.
And now I'm like, okay, well, someone's got to carry the other aspect of the family. So I stepped up. And about a year or two after, yeah, I think I was like 18-ish, 19-ish. It's when I started being curious.
Mhm.
What I mean by curious is because my mom was the matriarch, she was the energy of the family. There were certain things I couldn't ask. There were
Yeah,
certain things I couldn't explore. There were certain things I couldn't do.
yeah.
Right. So at that age is when I began asking those existential questions. Who am I? Why am I here? Like what's what's my life gonna be? And to even make it worse, right? 17, 18 is when you're applying to colleges,
Mhm.
right? I got accepted to really prestigious colleges for academics. I was getting like looks from like one school for football. And then um, come to find out that I was undocumented as well.
Oh, no, wait, you were born in Nigeria?
I was born in London.
Ah,
So I was born in London. We moved to the States when I was very young.
yeah,
And I just think, yeah, it wasn't, it just wasn't a priority for my parents. And I don't
yeah,
think they made it a big deal because I think at that time in the country, it wasn't so much like it was one of those things you could have got, and I think they were just lackadaisical about it as, things in that regard became more like
yeah.
strict. Up until that point, I was a shy, timid, low confidence, um, kid, right? Just because of my upbringing. And to find out that I'm not supposed to be here,
Kinda adds to that.
I went into hiding even more, right? And
I mean, God, you're quite literally hiding.
yeah,
Yeah,
like hiding in plain sight.
yeah.
Like I had to yeah. I became so I was already hyper vigilant,
Mhm.
but I became so hyper vigilant because I thought literally everybody was like after me,
Yeah,
right?
they got my mom, they're gonna get me.
That was the fear.
Yeah,
Um, so when I was asking these existential questions at this point, because I think at that point also something in me was like percolating. I couldn't really put a finger on it. And I think that's what caused these questions to be asked. I started to really explore things outside the paradigm that was like offered to me. I started to read books that were more spiritual, if you will. I dove deeper into my own like journey, and this is what caused me to like ask certain questions. After I realized I was undocumented, I had to go hustle.
yeah.
So I became a self-taught graphic designer.
Oh, wow.
Started a DJ business with my best friend. We DJed for 7 years. I bartended, and just to make ends meet. And as time grew, um, the self-reflection made me kind of see things from a different perspective. And um, yeah, that's where it started.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, again, Nicole told me, like, you had a very and she told me that you were, like, kind of, responsible for, like, your younger siblings and stuff like
Mhm.
that. Because I kind of resonate with that. And when my dad passed, even though I had an older sister and an older brother, my
Yeah.
older brother, good man, love him to
Yeah.
death. Actually almost drank himself to death. He had to have like 2 liters of fluid drained from his abdomen. His skin and eyes turned yellow, like
Jeez.
that kind of stuff. I moved him in with me. I actually got him on like a bunch of Onnit supplements at the time. This was before I even worked at Onnit.
Wow.
And he, started getting active and getting his life back together. And again, very, very proud of him. But in that moment, he was I was 21, he was 25, 26 when my dad passed. He, ran off to marry the girl that he was with like way earlier than I think he intended to. And to be honest with you, kind of disappeared for a good 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Like our family lost contact with him. And he came back around when I got married because, he wanted to be a part of that and wanted to be a part of the family.
I
And
didn't know you were married.
not anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, which is, again, a story I've shared. It's not any, I'm an open book. Like I will tell everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when I was getting time for me to get married, and that was also a kind of, I don't want to say it was me rushing off, but I like
Mm.
after my dad passed, like it felt like the next step. Like again, I quit playing college baseball at that time, temporarily dropped out of school. I went back to school like a year or two later after he passed, but it just wasn't for me anymore. Like so if I'm not going to be a baseball player, I don't want to go to school. Like I
Yeah.
know that I need to, in by society standards, I need to go back to school. But I have taken a very scenic route to where I am today as far as being a strength and conditioning coach. Like
Yeah.
I don't have any degrees. I probably have enough credits for a degree, or like I honestly I think I'm maybe 1 or 2 semesters away from like a liberal arts like 4-year degree. Um, but yeah, I really had to step up and kind of take that leadership role and be that
Mhm,
presence for my
mhm,
family.
mhm.
My mom, kept working through it all, but she was obviously struggling and trying not to show it. But we fought. Everybody fought, but I had to kind of step into those
Yep.
shoes as well. And
Yep.
it even got to a point when my brother was going through his issues, him and I ended up living together, and we had conversations. And he's like, "Man, when did you become the big brother?" And I was like,
Mm,
you're just realizing it now, but I've been having to do this for almost 10 years now at that point." But it's one of those things, like it takes a special individual, and again, it is something that obviously it happened, so it happened for
of
a
course,
reason.
of course. Looking back, I realized like, yeah, it was something that was seated in me. I mean, for the longest, and and honestly, I don't think anybody else could have done it. Like looking at my family,
Yeah,
and I'm still that individual for them today. Now with like healthier boundaries,
sure, sure,
because I realized a lot of me was doing it from like wounding,
yeah,
right? You know, um, so but now, yeah, I mean, I'm grateful to be that for my family, but it was rough at first.
yeah,
It was tough, man.
yeah. I
Yeah,
can't imagine, especially in New York. Like, fortunately for my family, it was Albuquerque, New Mexico.
yeah,
You're not in the concrete jungle of New
yeah.
York.
Well, we were in Philly at this point.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. So we're in
Still,
Philly. Yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah,
still way
yeah,
bigger circumstances than
yeah,
Albuquerque, New
yeah,
Mexico.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, man. Yeah.
wild. So then you get into late teens, early 20s. You're getting
Early
into the
20s.
medical field,
Yeah, yeah,
and then what made you transition from there?
yeah. That's a really good question, and I love that you asked this question. This is kind of what began my deeper journey with health
Yeah,
and wellness. At that point, I started lifting weights, started strength training in high school, so football. So
football. Yeah,
yeah, I think 16 or 17 is like what my official start. And after high school, with the circumstances that were present, that became an escape for me. So I would go to the gym literally like 6 days a week, and
oh yeah,
I was one of those people that became like I became very self sufficient in that regard. So I didn't really need anybody. Like I became very independent and being able to be so focused on my health. So I was really health driven. Looking back, it was actually um, using my body to mask my insecurities, right?
hmm,
But I think 2 or 3 years into the hospital is what, again, the self reflection and being in that environment and seeing the reality of what happens when we neglect our health. I literally said these words to myself. I said, I do not want to be the son, the brother, the father, the friend that is making up, right, from the mistakes he made in the first half of his life.
hmm,
And because the reality was, I saw it all. I mean, one of the toughest days working that job was having to carry a 6-month-old baby down.
ugh,
So I've seen 6 months pass to like 99.
a nightmare.
I've seen people like slowly die. Like so I was part of their like slow death. And it's but that wasn't even the issue. It's realizing that 60 to 70% of the reason why people were there was preventable.
Yeah,
So I took that approach of like, okay, let me like be more serious about my health. It was just, strength training and gym. Now I really start to focus on my nutrition.
hmm,
So um, at the point I went really extreme. I remember again, deep studying. This is when like I would say was also like the birth of my own like individual spiritual journey. So while that was happening, while I was working on my physical health, my mindset was like growing as well. I always say like the body is like the lowest hanging fruit to achieve other realms of an individual. So my mind was expanding, and I remember going really extreme. So I was vegan for like 2.5 years.
oh wow,
Like I went completely like extreme. Within those 2 years, 2.5 years, I was like raw vegan for I think 3 or 6 months.
oof,
Um, yeah, bro, I'm talking about like massive bowls of salads. It was just
Sounds awful.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
me. That does not sound like a good time.
I went deep into like herbs.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was like investing hundreds of bucks a month on just herbs. I was like obsessed with my health. Um, I was eating organic like way back in the day. Like I'm talking about my early 20s.
Yeah, before it was cool.
Before it was a thing, right?
Yeah.
I drank raw milk in 2010.
Oh, no way.
Before I bought it for $9 a gallon. Like I was extreme when it came to all the things that are like trending now.
Yeah.
Those
You've
are
been
the
on.
things, that was the things I did way back in the day, and I realized, okay, like every swing on the pendulum, you go extreme, you're going to realize it's not sustainable. So yeah, for me, I swung so far to, let's say the right, that I got to a point where I was like, okay, I feel good, but I feel like something isn't right here.
Mhm.
So I think it was 2012. Yeah, it was 2012. Oh, by the way, because I had to figure it out, I also modeled part time. So I was signed.
Shocker. Rapper, actor, model.
I wasn't a rapper, I wasn't an actor, but a model though.
Yeah.
I was signed. So I was looking on Facebook because I had to update my portfolio. So I was looking for photographers.
Yeah.
And I'm like kind of, scrolling through Facebook. This is for the youngins out there. This is way before Instagram and YouTube.
Yeah, this is the Facebook. You needed a .edu.
Yes, you need to be a student, right?
Yeah.
This is the Facebook. I'm scrolling for photographers. And I come by this photographer by the name of Maya Goez. Her work was incredible. Like I was like, oh, okay, cool.
What a pretty name.
Yeah. I reach out to her and, she tells me, her packages, her prices. And I was like, she's in New York. And I'm like, can't afford that right now. So as I'm scrolling, I look at one of the models on her page, and this dude is ripped, right? At that time, like I want to be lean. And this is when like Jack 3D out. This is when all the bullshit was
original
out.
recipe Jack 3D.
All the bullshit was
Yeah.
out. So, like I'm doing all this work, but I wasn't reaping the rewards. And I knew like, okay, there were some things that were missing here, right? So I see this guy, and up until that point, because of my insecurities, I would assume because someone is like jacked or ripped, oh,
They're
you're
on
juicing,
something. Yep.
right?
You're on gear.
So I was one of those people too. And then I realized it was because I wasn't like doing the necessary work.
Sure.
But I look at this guy and I'm like, he's lean and ripped. There's no way he's on it. So I go to his page, and this dude is super active. And he happens to be working a business, right? And direct selling that my dad used to do when I was 10.
Oh, wow.
So I shared with you that my mom and dad separated.
Mhm.
And I didn't see him until like years after. And summer graduation, so summer of 5th grade, I went to go visit him in LA from Philadelphia
Okay.
for the summer. And he was with this direct selling company.
Oh, he took the Fresh Prince route? He went from Philly to LA?
Yeah, this is the first time I ever caught that.
You made that connection? Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I watched a lot of TV growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great show, by the way.
Great show.
Yeah. So when I go on this guy's page, I'm like, wait, this thing is still around? So I think for me, like that was enough safety for me to like keep watching him.
Yeah.
So I watched him for like 2 years, and within those 2 years, Facebook referred. You know how it refers friends?
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, the friend it referred was a member on his team, which is now my wife.
No way. Wow.
I friend request her. She inboxes me. She's like, "Welcome to my world. You're welcome to join me at any moment." And we just kept it very cordial, like for 2 years.
Yeah.
You know,
She was in Philly or?
no, she was in LA.
She was in LA. Okay.
He was in LA as well.
Okay.
This guy, who I call him this guy. He's like a close friend. He's been like a mentor to me.
Nice. Very nice.
So yeah, we kept it cordial because I was in a relationship. I was in an 8.5-year relationship. And so I'm watching, and I'm in the hospital at this point. I'm bartending, I'm DJing, I'm modeling, I'm hustling my ass off.
Yeah.
Right? Family's going through it. And I'm watching working 16-hour shifts, 18-hour shifts at the hospital, like going in when the sun isn't out, leaving when the sun isn't out.
Tough. How
Right?
your early 20s, mid 20s at this point?
At this point, yeah, like 23 or 24,
Okay.
something like that, I think. Yeah.
So you have the energy still to be doing all
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm watching and I'm like, yo, these people are running workouts with like 300 people at the beach, Santa Monica Beach.
Mm.
They look healthy. They look happy.
Yeah.
They look like they're in some sort of purpose, supporting people. And I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, this is becoming very monotonous.
Yeah.
Going to the club, DJing at club, DJing weddings. I love doing it, but because I was on this self-reflective journey and I was working on myself in this way, I started to realize that distance was growing between me and these things.
Yeah.
I remember my final night of bartending. I'm serving alcohol, and
Meanwhile, you know what that does to people because you've been seeing it in the hospital firsthand. Sorry, not to cut you off.
No, but I was still
Like
taking part in
here's
it,
your
right?
poison.
Yeah, I was still taking part in it. So it's
Yeah.
like it's like the ignorance, right? So I'm standing there. It wasn't a really busy night, and as I'm giving people alcohol, I'm literally watching. This is what came to me that night. I was like, yo, I'm participating in people escaping their lives. And in
Yep.
that moment, I was like, the money's great, but I don't know if I could do this anymore.
Yeah.
So I remember like shortly after that, I left. And like I said, I was watching my wife, Nicole Style was his name. And I'm watching them like really be up to something. And after 2.5 years, I was like, hey, like whatever y'all are on, like sign me up,
I
right?
want some.
So I eventually did. I joined, and that was what transitioned me out of that. It was a health and fitness company, or health and nutrition company, and when I began doing that, I noticed the distance between my old lifestyle started to grow. Right, the gap started to grow, and this was another lion's pit moment. So my mom was deported.
Yeah, where's she at this time? You're in your 20s now. She was deported when you were 17?
17.
Okay, so is she still in?
She's still there.
Okay.
19
Is she
years.
still there today?
Still there,
Wow.
19. I mean, we're working on getting her back now. So it's
Okay.
like, yeah, but 19 years.
Wow.
So now we're at this point where, okay, my wife at this point, because she was a killer, by the way, like my wife that you see today, I mean, she's completely transformed, but she was a killer when it came to business, right?
Yeah.
In the best way possible. She was like, hey, if you really want to do this, it's really going to be dependent upon you coming to Las Vegas. And
Why Vegas?
because that's where they were having this like big event.
Okay. Okay.
And I didn't tell you, so I'm still undocumented.
Oh. Okay. All right.
I faked my resume to get into the hospital.
Yeah. Wow. I love that.
So I'm sitting in front of the supervisor, and he literally looks at the resume. He's like, I mean, you seem unqualified for this job. And this is how I know God is always moving.
Mm-hmm.
He looked at me in my eyes. He said, you seem unqualified for this, but there's something about you. I'm going to hire you. And I remember going home shocked.
Yeah.
And being in that job, I didn't want to lose it
Yeah.
because I didn't know if I was going to get another one, right?
Right.
So at this point, this transition, I'm undocumented. And all I had as ID was my school ID. So to get to Vegas,
Oh yeah.
I need ID,
Yeah.
right?
Unless you're taking a long ass road trip.
Bro, I tried to look up renting a car. I wasn't 25 years old, so I couldn't.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling like this was my chance. This was my chance to get out, if you will.
Yeah.
And again, I believe in opportunities to prove who we say we are, not so much tests.
I love that.
This was another opportunity to prove that I was who I said I was, and I wanted what I said I wanted. I believe that life used my mom to test me. She was in Nigeria. At this point, I couldn't get my British passport just to be an ID. So I had to work on getting my Nigerian passport. And about 3 days before it, my mom couldn't follow through. And I remember feeling defeated.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I guess I'm like stuck doing this for the rest of my life. And luckily for my cousin, we were able to make it happen. And I think it was like maybe 16 hours before my flight. I'd already purchased the flight. I already purchased tickets. I knew I was going, but I didn't know
Yeah.
how. We made it.
God is
So
how.
yeah, we went. And I mean, for me, it was like, yeah, I got to meet the guy that I saw on Facebook for 2.5 years. And to see someone that looked like me um, do something successful, like he's part of the top 1% of the company, like he was in foster care. So I
Hmm.
watched his journey, right? So I'm like, okay, like it's possible for me as well. But the real Lions Pit moment was, this is what because I'm kind of leading up to
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
The
yeah.
real Lions Pit moment was realizing that my time in Philadelphia was up.
Time to cut the cord.
And I remember feeling like, because you're the big brother, but you're also the father, the mother, like you're the rock for the family.
Sure.
And realizing that, hey, I I I don't want to go. I have to go.
Yeah. Have to.
Like if I don't, I don't feel that I'm going to be able to live the life that I was created to live or be who I'm meant to be. And it was hard because at that point, I'd already started to look at my old life. I didn't look down on it, but I knew, okay, like it was time for that to die.
Yeah.
I'd already quit bartending. I'd already left modeling. I'd already stopped DJing at that point. And I was like, because I went all in on this health nutrition, like, and I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
And it was hard because I felt like I was abandoning my family. That was one of the toughest decisions of my life. But it was also Lions Pit within Lions Pit. I ended my 8.5 year relationship.
Talk about walking on water. Step out of the boat. If you want to walk again, if you want to walk
Yep.
towards Jesus, step out of the boat.
Yep.
And have faith. And that's the whole story of Peter stepping out of the boat. Like Jesus, is like, walk towards me. If you believe in me, walk towards me.
Yep.
And he starts to sink when he gets distracted by the storm around him. So if you again, have your vision and you focus on
Yep.
God, you'll walk on water. And that is that moment of stepping out of the boat.
And what's interesting about it, I love that you bring this up because, when Jesus is healing or when he's having Peter walk on water, what I realize when I observe, scripture in that way is it's not so much him that's doing the healing. It's predicated upon you believing first.
Absolutely.
He's like, okay, before I heal you, do you believe?
Yeah.
Right? So there was this, it wasn't even a belief. There was a deep knowing within me, knowing that I'm done here. And like, so I left Philly and I had to move to LA. And you're going to think it's a Cinderella ending. No, shit got rough.
Yeah.
Shit got really rough. And I mean, now we're here today, but that was kind of the catalyst that led me to where I am today. Yeah.
Yeah. The 8.5 year relationship, was she not supportive of you moving, or you just knew that was a chapter you had to close?
No. Looking back, and she's an exceptional woman,
Sure.
right? But it was at the point where I was choosing growth. So I'm deep in the personal growth, at least on level 1 or level 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm expanding my own consciousness. And I saw how it probably wasn't time for her yet, at least in her way.
Yeah.
And I realized how I would seek to invite her to do it. But, it wasn't like she was resistant to it. She just wasn't open to it, not in a negative way. She didn't she didn't demonize me for doing it. She was like very kind, right?
Yeah.
And again, like I'm committed to this. So the more I'm growing, the more the distance is growing.
Yeah.
And it just became what I realized is us growing apart. And yeah, I chose to end it.
Yeah.
Because it had its time.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to something you said there, saying like I had to go, I had to make this happen. What really started like this kind of self journey for me, I read this book called In a Pit with a Lion on a Snowy Day. And that's where this all comes from. And it goes into the story of Benaiah. And one thing that they kind of reiterate within that book is when you don't pursue like those God ordained destinies, you're robbing God of the glory of your story. Like he has a grand story for you. And had you stayed in Philly, like you would have been robbing God of that glory. Because again, think of all the people that get to hear you now and get to hear your story now and the glory that you get to bring to God. Like that would have all been robbed of him if you didn't believe in yourself and you didn't believe in him. And it's one of those things like you have to step out of the boat. That was me coming out here, like from New Mexico. I've said this before, but like 3 days before I moved out here, I didn't know where I was living, but I knew I was coming. I knew I was coming. Like I knew it was happening for me, and I was like, and that would happen. So I fought Muay Thai, and I got into that late in life, like after my divorce actually. So I was 29 when I first started training, 30 with my first fight, and for whatever reason, like I wasn't super nervous for my first fight. I think it was because it was a tournament.
Yeah.
And you don't know who you're fighting until everyone makes weight. There's hundreds of fighters there, all sorts of different weight classes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so like it was just like train for this moment and then go fight. But my second fight was like one-on-one. It was in New Mexico at a casino, the biggest Muay Thai promotion in North America. And I'm opening up the card. So if I'm not mistaken, I think statistically I'm the first Muay Thai fight in New Mexico history because I opened up the card. Yeah, so it was terrifying. It was nerve-wracking. And I really had to rely on my faith and like have like, and I would pray. I was like, all right, God, if you want me to do this, like I will do it. I will put all my efforts into it. If it falls apart, the opponent pulls, the card doesn't make, whatever, it happens. But like, if I get my ass beat and there's something to learn there. Like I will follow what you have called me, and end up being such an opening of a floodgate for me of like belief and like all these things that like just started happening for me. And because of like the faith that I put into it. And I went on and I won that fight, and it's just still one of the greatest nights of my life. And again, not just because of the fight, but because of the energy. Like I felt like I was being rewarded for having my faith in that. And so that started me on this journey of like, all right, let's keep stepping out of the boat. Let's keep stepping out of the boat. And New Mexico was really rough over COVID, really restricted, tough, especially as like someone that was working in the fitness industry. Like gyms are constantly closing down, opening up, closing down. It was so hard. You have to stay a certain distance away. Like we'd have zoned out areas for people training. And then
That was weird.
it was so weird and so unnecessary. I hope years from now, like our kids reading history books and be like, what were you guys doing? But yeah, anyway, not to get too far down that rabbit hole. But yeah, I don't want to get canceled before I start.
Well, you actually can't because there's, okay, well, I'm going to say this and we can move on. You can't because it's on record that it was.
Yes.
So,
yeah, Fauci made up 6 feet.
Yeah,
You know what I
it's on
mean?
record.
Yeah, right. It is on record. Yeah,
It's a
fact check
congressional
me.
hearing. So,
Fact check me.
It's a congressional hearing. So
Yeah.
Just to back you up there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But the big moment for me was, again, having stepped into that leadership role for my family. My sister, her son at the time was 4 years old, and they're like, he might be on the spectrum. They're like, he's got a different mind for sure.
Yeah.
And schools are closed in New Mexico, and she just had a baby April of COVID, so a COVID baby that was literally just attached to her.
Jeez.
And so she is like, I can't, like he needs more help than I can give him. He's got to get back into school. And he needs people working with him. Meanwhile, everything's closed down in New Mexico. And so my little sister had already lived out here in New Braunfels since like 2017, and Texas is thriving at this time. You know what I mean? Not thriving, but definitely surviving. And life is fairly normal out here. And my sister, I again allowed her to move in with me at that time because I'm doing well enough in New Mexico.
Yeah.
And October, I think it was October of that year October of 2020, I believe. Anyway, right around then, I was fresh into a lease at an apartment, a really nice apartment in Albuquerque, and she's living with me with her 2 kids, and she's like, "We gotta make the move to Texas." And I was like, "All right, I don't know how we're gonna do it." She couldn't. We had this whole apartment loaded up. Thank God for my best friend, my other best friend out there, Tim Gutierrez. He came over and helped me load up a U-Haul. Like just one day, just him and I just loaded up everything in a U-Haul, big ass U-Haul. And like I said, we had looked at a house, we'd applied to a house, but we hadn't heard anything back. And even the house that we had applied to was like kind of like suspect. It was a nice, ended up being a nice house down in New Braunfels, but like there was one picture of it online. Like they didn't have any picture. I'm like, what is wrong with this house? Like there's something wrong with it. But we took the leap. We took the leap to come out here. And kind of like you said, it wasn't like things didn't get worse when I came out here, but it definitely was not easy when I first got out here because I hadn't heard anything from On It at the time. We just knew we had to get out of New Mexico. And I knew that I had to help my sister get her kids into a better situation.
Yeah.
So again, taking that kind of leadership role, I was like, when is me ever listening to the voice that's speaking to me backfired?
Yep.
So I was like, I gotta listen, I gotta
Yep.
go, I gotta again walk on water, I gotta
Yep.
step out of the boat.
Yep.
Um, and I always tell people I have the funniest like coming to realization of the that God is real moment. My freshman year at college, and I grew up pretty Catholic, actually like very Catholic. My mom went to like an all girls Catholic school. My dad being from Colombia, very like old school Hispanic Catholic. Um, I was baptized in a Catholic church when I was a baby, all that stuff. But didn't necessarily have the greatest relationship. The Catholic Church is very overpowering at times for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Not for everyone. I'm not going to say that, but it was tough, especially like with the way my family was. Like I felt like they didn't really need more judgment at that time.
Right.
So like I
Yeah.
said, had a strained relationship with religion at that time, and I'm driving. I'm going to this little school, Eastern Arizona. It's in a little town called Thatcher, Arizona, and the highway into town is a 2-lane highway, and there's a bunch of plantations out there. Oddly enough, there's like cotton fields, and I had made this drive a dozen times, and I'm on this 2-lane highway. I'm probably half an hour outside of town, and there's this big white, beautiful, like old school plantation on the right, and I'd again seen it
Mm.
dozens of times, but for some reason I just feel this urge to look at it, but I know that there's a semi truck coming towards me on the other side. It's just a 2-lane highway. And I'm like, nope, I need to focus on the road. But I just feel like this urge, like just look away,
Gotta
look
look.
away, look away. And literally as the truck goes to pass me, like in that moment, I look over at the plantation and the truck hit something in the middle of the road and a piece of wood shot through my window and hit me in the side of the head. That if I was looking straight ahead would hit me in the eye. And that say goodbye to my baseball career, and who knows what happens from there. You know what I mean? If I'm an 18-year-old not playing baseball, like in New Mexico, like I'm probably getting into drugs. I'm probably getting into gangs. Like I'm probably doing something I shouldn't be doing. And literally in that moment, again, feeling the urge in the voice, and it's such like kind of like a silly realization, but like in that moment, I was like, that couldn't have been anything other than God.
Mm.
And ever since then, it kind of started my journey of like, what is this? What is this? What does it mean to me?
Mm.
And now, like I'm very involved with my church that I go into in New Braunfels, and like so I'm very deep in my faith and my religion.
Yeah.
But that was like the first like moment of like God's real.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was,
I
yeah,
love it.
wild time.
I love it, man. Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like, let me look ahead. No. So interesting. It's like, let me look ahead to stay safe.
I never thought about it like that.
Let me look ahead to stay safe. It's like, let me control
Mm-hmm.
my safety. And it's like, nah.
Give into the voice.
Oh, I just got chills.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
got
That's funny. I
chills.
never like thought like yeah. Let me do what I think is safe. But no, like listen
How
to
many
God.
people are doing that? How many times have we done it? Let
Yeah.
me do what I think is safe.
Yeah,
And usually the things that our ego considers not safe is where God is. God's everywhere, but
Yeah.
that's where God really is as far as like where we're being led to. Yeah,
where the magic happens.
yeah man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we got to Vegas. Things get harder.
Yeah. No, I got to LA.
LA, okay.
So yeah, things get really hard. At this
What
point,
part of LA?
Carson.
Carson.
So
Okay.
Carson. And shortly after, Nicole and I, we start dating. So Carson. And because at this point, I'd like almost titrated my way out of like working. Like when I started the business, I was still part-time at the hospital, right?
Mhm.
And so being smart, two and a half years that is. And things were going great. And then moved to LA, and then like things got financially rough.
Yeah.
And then my worth got questioned. My utility got questioned. I can't tell you how many times like I had thought, or the thought crossed my mind that I made the wrong decision, or the shame I would have felt if I decided to like go back.
Yeah. And where are you in your faith at this moment in life? Not like in the current moment, but in this story.
So
Like you're a firm believer, or you just kind of
at this point, and this is where I'm at right now, I'm not religious,
Mhm.
right? My knowing in God is through obviously like personal experiences.
for sure.
And yeah, I don't believe in God. I know God.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not religious. So my connection to God was at this point was not as strong because life was happening.
Yeah. Life was
But
interfering.
and here's also the reality. I've always been aware that I desired this deep connection with God. But through the personal work I've done over the years, I realized how much of my own shit was in the way of me allowing it to happen.
Hmm.
So at this point in my life, yeah, I would say the faith was there, but it wasn't as strong.
Okay.
And the reason is because, yeah, there was just so much life happening. Um, Money was scarce. I had to survive. Going through really deep relationship challenges
Hmm.
that made me question just who I was. Um, and it was very, it was very wavy. Um, and at this point, I'm grateful for the community that was there because that was what like kept me grounded. I'm grateful for the mission of supporting and helping other people because that's what kept me grounded.
Yeah.
Um, Even though we were going through challenges at the time, I'm grateful for my wife because she supported me in a big way when I was going through my own stuff, right? Um, and through that, what was being cultivated was, and this is why I'm always grateful for the journey. It's kind of like I always look at each moment as like a stepping stone for the ultimate mission that is evolving all the time.
Hmm.
This period of my life was me collecting even more leadership skills, collecting um, more skill sets to support people. But deep down inside, I still had this, again, I still had this very gnawing mission to help people. Did it in the hospital, did it through DJing. Like I'm bringing some sort of support to people.
Yeah.
So as I'm supporting people on their fitness and nutrition, like I'm coaching at this point, right? Um, I realized like over time, like people would get physical results. Some would last, some wouldn't. Some would start, some would quit. And I'm starting to see a theme here. I'm starting to see a theme of the over priority on just the physical and the mind that something else seems to be lacking.
Hmm.
So it's been almost 10 years now. Yeah. Still exploring my own journey. Again, personal development, that was like one of the core principles of our community. A good mentor of mine invited me to a breathwork session. This was like the most, yeah, it's going on a decade now.
Wow.
And again, I'm open, I'm curious. So I said, sure, I'll go. And we were in Santa Monica at this time, in the studio. And I'm like, okay, like, sure. I don't know what we're going to do. I'm not going to question much of it. But yeah, it was their brother-in-law that was leading it. And after this session was completed, I'm the last one to come up. I come up gasping for air. And I say, what the fuck was that? I had never felt so viscerally clear or in body connection like that in my life.
Yeah.
That was the reintroduction to my own emotions as a man for the first time in a while.
Wow.
The visuals that I saw, the clarity and groundedness that I felt in the moment, something about that session allowed me to know that, okay, there's something here.
Yeah.
So I began exploring that amongst the other things that I was doing. I did it as a personal practice for years. And at this point, ah, holy crap. It's like when you reflect on your story, you're like, so much has happened, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit for it. Everything that we've been through.
yeah. At this point, we had moved to San Diego. And how that happened was wife and I, we actually split up for like 3 months.
Oh wow.
This is actually before we were married. So we were still Yeah, boyfriend and girlfriend. We split up. And that was another low moment for me.
Yeah.
That was another lion's pit moment. It's like, okay, well, what's going to happen? And like, am I going to go back to Philly now? And again, I thank God for specific angels. I think we all have angels. I think we're all angels to each other in some way.
Absolutely.
Right? My best friend, shout out to Abdul, him and his wife were in San Diego. They were pregnant with their first. And I think he called me or I called him and he knew what had happened. And he literally was like, man, fuck that. You're not going back to Philly. He's like, you're moving in with us.
Oh, wow.
So 2 days after, Nicole and I separated, I packed up my stuff, moved to San Diego, and I'm literally on their couch, like grieving.
Yeah.
I'm going through it, bro. Like I'm for like 2 months straight, just crying.
Yeah.
Because of like shame, regret, all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But that is where I also met myself. That is also where, again, that voice, that inner voice increased. And, 3 months had passed with no contact with Nicole, and we started chatting again. And we explored, like, okay, like, maybe let's try this again. Under one condition, like, you move San Diego.
Oh, wow. That's big. Because how long has she been in LA at that time?
I think 12 years.
Okay. So it's home.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was like, you move. And at that point, like, bro, I'm a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Like, I was a little boy in an adult body. This is before like the real deep work that I've done on myself, right?
Yeah.
A little boy in an adult body. I was still wounded by all the things I experienced with my mother and my father leaving. So I had not really addressed that. I had, and this is what like that breathwork session showed me, or I experienced. I had, but only on the mental level. I'd already went to seminars. I did the landmark forums, the insights, the MITT. I did it. I did that all, and still was repeating these similar cycles, right? So I realized that in that moment, I was finally like actually choosing like myself in a way that would not have me succumb to these similar habits that were just self-destructive.
Yeah.
So I said, we're going to do this again. We're going to move to San Diego. Well, he moved.
Wow.
And shortly after, we conceived our first. And I mean, after that, we got married. Like,
Yeah.
so conceived when we were 30, got married when we were 30. And yeah, now I'm prepping for a child. Now I'm married, and that's a whole different life bracket.
Yeah.
So my priorities change as far as not so much like work or career, but like, okay, like I have to shift something about how I'm showing up so I can be like the father that my daughter needs.
Yeah.
And like I shared, 4 years of personal practice as it relates to the breath. And then I get invited to this Lululemon like leadership retreat. And I'm questioning, I'm like, why am I even here? Like
Yeah.
I got invited by one of the trainers at the F45 we used to go to. And he said, I've just been watching you for the last 3 months and I see what you're up to and I see like how you share online and how you give and how you inspire. I just felt like you get to be here. And I was like, okay, thank you. And the first night of that retreat, if you will, was breathwork again. And I was like, oh, I remember this.
Yeah.
And at this point, it was this instructor that was, we were doing Wim Hof breathing. This is when Wim Hof finally like came on the scene and
Gotcha.
started to like blow up. And I remember after that session feeling similarly what I felt years before. And shortly after that, didn't make anything of it. I was like, okay, I get to really do this practice again because I stopped for a little bit. And I stayed in contact with the instructor. And again, angels,
Yeah.
right? A lot of them, a lot of my angels, if you will, a lot of the God wings, if you will, has come in the form of people seeing what I resist seeing in myself.
Yep.
So they've come in the form
That's
of
a goosebump moment for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just come in the form of like reflection when I'm doubting or when I'm getting in my head. It's like I always feel like God uses people as chess pieces. Nope. Go tell him what he needs to hear so he can focus.
Yeah.
So Reese is his name, Reese Peluso. And I'm grateful for him. See, I'm starting to feel it.
I get it. Yeah, man, it's real. That's what you said. Like literally when you said like I'm starting to believe what people are saying to me, my eyes started to water up because that's why I'm here.
Yeah. And I've never felt this way about about just sharing this aspect of him. I've shared this many times. But he was like adamant. He's like, bro, I really think you can include this practice in what you offer people. And I'm like, me?
Yeah.
Right? I'm like,
Yeah.
me? Are you sure? And I think he was on it for like 3 times before I like finally agreed.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting like training in it. Yeah, I got trained, built my skill set in the breath, and that reason why like I'm feeling what I'm feeling is because that it's changed my life.
Yeah.
And it's only changed my life because the gift that it is for what it has helped me support thousands of people with.
Yeah.
Which is like and I mean this amongst other things, but it's one of the things that has helped people like literally let go of so much pain,
Mm-hmm.
so much stored trauma, so much of the stories that people are still living by. And there's one thing to live by it mentally, but there's a lot that we hold viscerally in our body that the mind can't process. It has to go through the body. And I'm like, this gift of being able to support people in this way, again, it's like brought me closer to why I'm here.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel what I feel about that, because he didn't have to do that.
Right.
And if he did it, I probably would not have, I would not.
Yeah.
And it's because he like, someone that's kind of like, he's outside my circle. He's like, bro, I see you. Like, you could do this.
He's yeah, outside your circle, like you said, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I love that, man. Because again, I've had those moments too, where it's like, think of the that you're part of his downline. You know what I mean? Like the impact that he's been able to have through you. Had he never expressed that belief in you, think of again the thousands of lives that wouldn't have been able to be touched by you, and then now your downline, the people you're inspiring and helping that are now helping others. And it's all because of the belief that he had in you.
Yes.
For whatever reason.
Yes. And in those moments, bro, like when I'm in my element doing what I do, I mean, I'm an advocate that God is never not happening. That's my perspective. But in those moments, it is so palpable because I'm out of the way.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like in those moments, like sometimes I'm not the one speaking. So, I'm grateful because this is again another practice that's very intimate to every human being that's alive, but it's something that I feel has brought me closer to like even communing with God in that way, because it's like it's not about me. It's like my mission, it's my purpose, it's something that's helping me fulfill that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no greater gift.
No.
Yeah. Again, you're fulfilling your purpose, helping people.
Yeah.
And that's, the point of the podcast, the point of what I do in life. Like on the way over here, I was praying. I'm like, God, give me a platform so that I can spread your glory. Like help this fall on whatever ears need to hear it. Like I want to be a beacon of light to help the people around me. And again, if this reaches one person or a million people, I don't care as long as it reaches one person.
Job is done.
Yeah. And because again, I think we're in a, I don't want to say like a renaissance or a revolution or a rebirth, but like I think the tides are turning as far as light and dark. But man, it was dark. It was dark for a while, and you see these other people that are still like trying to be that beacon of light and trying to lead communities, and because that's for me, like my purpose is to try to bring more people to the kingdom.
Yeah.
So I want people to feel God's love through me, and not because of what I'm saying, but because of how I'm living.
Because of who you are. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want people to feel it.
Yes.
I want people to feel it through me. And
Yes.
Dude, I had a very meaningful conversation with a girl that I just met at the gym.
Yes.
Her name's Christina, sweet girl. And that's what I told her. I was like, I don't want to be thumping Bibles. I'm not that guy. I'll never be that guy. But I want people to see like my genuine happiness,
Yes.
feel my warmth, and
Yes.
know that is God.
You get it.
Yeah.
You get it.
That's dude, because we've been through it.
Yes.
And it's you know, it's almost, I don't want to say it's cliche, but like the darker the darks, like the brighter your brights can be. And you've been through it. And like you a little bit ago, you said something like I was a people pleaser. And I struggle with that because I battle with, am I a people pleaser? Or do I know what it feels like to struggle? And I hate to see other people go through that. But also it's like, I want to provide the help that I felt I never had. But if I had that help, like maybe I wouldn't be who I am today. You know what I mean? Like I try to be the person I wish I had. And that's kind of like become like my motto in life. Like be the voice, be the ear, whatever it is. Like it could just be listening. But it could be also like saying something that just might resonate with somebody. And I want to be that because again, I know how like the little help that I did receive, I know how much it helped.
Yes.
And it's life changing.
Yeah.
And if I can spread that and instill it in other people, like who am I to keep that gift to myself?
Of course.
That's ego. That's narcissistic. Like no. God's speaking through you. Don't keep that to yourself. Yeah. Like you have a mission. You have a voice. You have a platform. Like please God, let me use my platform. If I ever have a platform, I want it to be to glorify that.
My prayer every time before I do an interview, is God use me.
Yeah.
That's it. It's very simple.
Yeah. Send me. You know, have you ever seen the movie Fury? With Brad Pitt, they recite that Bible while they're in the tank. Like, here I am, send me. Yeah, God, send me to the battlefield. Send me where the darkness is, so that I can be the light for whatever community it is. And you're saying you're deeply religious, but like you don't go to church, which again I support that. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I was born in the church, by the way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
And it's not. I felt that for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm like, God doesn't take attendance.
Yeah.
I'm praying. I'm helping. Like God doesn't take attendance. Where it came for me to where I really felt like I needed to be a part of a church was knowing what my presence meant on that community. And again, like,
bro, you don't even need to explain.
Yeah. Like again, that's a light that God gave me to shine.
Yes.
And now I honestly I serve on the safety team at my church. Like I do, and I try to serve when my sister and my nephews are there. I'm like, if I trust anyone other than God to protect my family, it's me. And so why not like be on the security team, like serving while my family is there. Yeah, I get to be the protector, you know, and in a quite literal sense. But yeah, for me, it is like I go to church. I love my pastor. He's a very good friend of mine. We talk regularly.
Nice.
Yeah, he's very much a mentor, but like not that much older than me. So like we still get to have like very meaningful conversations and not like, yes, dad kind of moments.
Yes, uncle.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like those
father.
Yeah. And I'll jokingly, he hates when I call him Padre or something like that. Yeah. He's like, stop that. He's like, no. Yeah, Pastor Randy. Great dude. But he's the one that kind of brought that to my eye of like, don't underestimate the what your presence means to other people. Like I could stay home and watch church on Facebook Live if I wanted to. But I think again, as the energy that you bring, the energy that I bring, like people feel that. It's like I said, it's palpable.
Yeah, I want to speak to that, which is I love that you just brought this up because for the last 4 years, even up until that, again, it's stages of growth and evolution that where I feel like the more deeper layers I meet of myself is where I hear God like louder. It's like, so because I'm getting me out the way. And this is like being in Austin for the first 2 years. And I would always hear, Samson, your presence, Samson, your presence, Samson, your presence, Samson, your presence. And it confused me because I was so used to, in my mind, the transaction. I have to do something in order to feel worthy to you. I have to be perfect in order to be accepted by you. I have to look a certain way in order to be seen by you. I have to dim myself in order to be loved by you. It was very conditional.
Yeah.
At least from my own programming. So when I would get this feedback back, it used to confuse me. So I would call my good friend. I'm like, bro, like, what's going on here? And he was like, and I would never forget these words. He said, Samson, your presence is enough. And I'm starting to understand that now because of what you said and what I'm realizing. It's not in the words. It's not in the actions. Those serve a purpose at a certain time.
Absolutely.
No, it's in just the stillness of you being that I feel now that God communicates to people.
Yeah.
And what I've noticed is that, I mean, there's science, at least some science to prove this. Majority of communication is nonverbal. So there's a lot of communication that's happening silently from body to body.
Energetically.
So when you said that like your presence is important, I now realize even just showing up online, I don't even have to say anything, or eye contact with someone, or really like shaking somebody's hand, or maybe saying hello, right?
Yeah.
Can change the trajectory of someone's life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it all starts in that moment.
Yeah.
It could make their day better.
Yes.
Which can have a domino effect on who they become as a person.
Yes. And I always think about that. I'm like, the cascading domino effect of just one's action can either make or break something.
Yeah.
So how do I choose to show up in that moment? Now, it's not going to be perfect for me, right? Because I also accept that I'm human.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like, if I can invite myself to be present so I can show up for somebody, because I know the one thing that someone did for me has led me to, you know, a powerful moment in my life. Imagine what that could be for somebody else. Yeah.
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 Yeah. You said something like feeling you weren't like worthy of that. And man, I've felt that so many times in my life, especially, you know, growing up in the way that I did, and growing up homeless and dirty and poor. Like I always jokingly say, like I felt like Aladdin, the street rat. Like I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to be seen. I remember in high school, dating a girl who her dad worked at the labs in New Mexico, so they had a bit of money. I never invited her over to my house. Yeah, like I was just like I couldn't. Like I was ashamed. I was like, I couldn't do it.
I did the same thing.
Yeah. And it's just one of those things. I was like, I never felt like I was worthy of that love. I never felt like I was worthy of nice things. I never felt like I was worthy of a good job, a pretty girl, nice car. I was like, no, that's not for me. That's not what like God hasn't planned for me. Not even like what God hasn't planned for me, because that was never I never thought that.
Right.
Because, and I also have shared this many times on the podcast, like even in those like desperate moments where I'm not eating and I don't know like what's going on in my life because I'm a young kid, I always like kind of question, like, I feel like someday they're going to make a movie about my life because I feel like I'm meant for great things. I feel like I'm meant for greatness. And that was, again, my belief in God. And it's one of those things that it's become like a kind of, again, like another motto of mine. And it actually is going to be my next tattoo, but born worthy. Like I am born worthy. Especially if you truly believe that you are a child of God, then how can you not believe that you are born worthy of all of his blessings? Like it is literally my next tattoo. I already have the appointment made in like 3 weeks. Born worthy.
I mean, I look at my 10-month-old, and she's nothing but that.
She's a queen.
She's nothing but
she's royalty.
Purity, innocence, like worthy. She already is that.
Yeah.
Coming into the world, we've been that, and it just the world places its imprints on us. So just knowing all this right now, it makes me very cognizant on just my presence with them, because they don't care about words.
Yeah.
They read, okay, what's coming out of daddy? What is he feeling?
Yeah.
How is he being? You know? So I love that, man.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, it took a while to realize that. Yeah, obviously. You know what I'm saying? I'm 37 now, but it's one of those things, like I don't when I think about my age and like, oh man, like I'm figuring this out so late. It's like, thank God I'm figuring it out. I don't care if I figure it out on my deathbed.
Bro, we're not in our prime men are not in their prime until like, what is it, like 55?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm like,
and then, still plenty of time for sure. But you know, as a young man, like you're like, gosh, like I'm not established yet.
Yeah.
Especially when you're moving across country for an unknown job. You know what I mean? Like you're talking about that in that moment, and I wanted to ask, I was like, did you feel insecure because of where you were in your like social standing? Which again, as we know now, is BS. Your social standing means nothing.
Yep.
What you mean to your people means everything.
Yeah.
But like, I don't care how I appear online. Me personally.
Yeah.
Like I don't ever want to portray like I got it all figured out, and then meanwhile I'm
struggling,
shoving shit up my nose and drinking every weekend. You know what I mean? Because we know, I'm sure you know the type.
There's a lot of that.
Yes, there's a lot of that.
There's a lot of that.
And it always blows my mind when I see people like, oh, I only drink this the water out of a green glass bottle. But I'm like, you were just on Coke over the weekend. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you know, because again, I'm sure you know the type. And it's like,
it sounds like you got secrets.
No. And I will never throw anyone's names out there. But like, I've seen, I'm like, you are on ketamine right now. And you're like sitting here like, I'm not going to drink water out of a fountain. Like, what? But anyway, that's a side story. But yeah, man, like it took me a while to realize, like, and it took me not even to realize, it took me to get out of my way. Get out of my own way. And I had, again, whether it's angels or people that come to your life for seasons or reasons, right? And I would have people tell me like, no, you need to be in the forefront. Again, I didn't want to be seen.
Yep.
But I like in sports, I never shied away from the moment.
Yep.
Like and that was the part, like, and I've always said this, like in between the lines, I was free on a baseball field, or like, and this one really was like a realization for me. Like when I would step into a ring, like I don't have to pretend to be human anymore. I don't have to pretend to be normal anymore. I can be who I am, and if that pure expression of myself offends anyone, guess what? I'm in a ring, and I get to take that out. Like I don't have to pretend to be someone I'm not, because I did that my whole life growing up. I pretended like I've shared this as well, but like I kid you not, my wardrobe, my senior year of high school, I stole every article, whether it was Hollister, PacSun. I would walk in with shopping bags with empty shoe boxes, and I'd fill those shoe boxes up, and I'd go put them in my trunk, come back, make another run. Like that's what I did. And it's not anything I'm proud of. I'm not advocating for it, of course. But again, that's the Aladdin moment. I'm stealing the apple.
It's the reality, bro.
Yeah.
It's the reality. I mean, I stole too. Like, but I get it.
I never stole from people though.
Okay, yeah.
I never stole from people because again, I know how much, like, how whatever people have, like I know what that means to them, and I never stole from people.
I stole from my mom, and I got my ass kicked.
Okay, I stole a little bit of weed from my brother and sold it in mid school. Yeah, I got my ass kicked.
Oh yeah, bro. I have a question for you.
All right.
What was the difference between playing baseball, being in the ring, where the insecurity wasn't present, versus outside of it?
I think I was so in love with the moment. I was so in love with the moment of what I was doing that I didn't care what anybody else thought. And those are the moments, like, yeah, I'm kind of like now, like this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yep.
And so I don't care what other people think. In those in between the lines, I didn't care. And it was, baseball's a gentleman's game, and I definitely like would live by the motto of like look good, feel good, play good. Like my coach always used to call me Suge because I was like the last one out of the locker room because I was just taking forever to get ready. I'm my sweatbands, I'm my eye black. So I was like, this is my moment. Like this is
too.
this is me at my core.
Yeah.
And I didn't know any other way to express that because, like I said, outside of that, I was pretending to be someone I wasn't. Whether it was a person of status or even to honestly like being like pretending to be a happy kid. Like I've always been happy, but like, man, there's a lot of anger behind that. There's a lot of darkness behind that. And not everyone saw that. And like, even my mom today, she's like, you really felt that way? Like, I'm like, yeah, I did. I just didn't express it. Like, I didn't know how to without it coming across. There was one moment, it was my senior year of high school. For whatever reason, I developed a real bad cough. And the cough medicine that my doctor prescribed had codeine in it. And so I'm taking it, and my dad, bless my dad, he passed away in '09. But this was 2006. He's having me. You remember the old like if you're plugging in your Super Nintendo or whatever, it's like a yellow wire, a red wire, a white wire.
Yep.
I'm trying to figure out this out for like a VCR at my house, and my brother was like really good at that stuff. I wasn't so much, and I'm trying to figure it out. And my dad was like kind of getting pissed off at me. And meanwhile, I'm on this cough medicine with codeine in it, and I stop and I have tears in my eyes, and I'm like, Dad, I want to fucking die. I want to die right now. And my dad was like, Margaret, come talk to your son. And it was one of those moments I was like, I can't express that. Like, and that's what I felt in the moment. I was like, I can't do that anymore because like it's so against who I am. Like, again, I am a genuinely I'm just so much happier now than I was then because of I quit caring. But in that moment, I was like, I felt so bad. Seeing that look in my dad's eyes, I was like, I'm sorry, Dad. Like, I'm so sorry that I just made you feel that. Because it was such an ugly feeling.
But that was real for you though.
It was raw as can be.
And looking back now, was it your fault for being real?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. And I look back on different versions of me, like parts where I fucked up, like even my marriage. Like my marriage didn't fall apart because of like anything bad, like infidelity or anything like that. But it fell apart because I gave up on who I was.
Yeah.
And looking back, I should have never been married in the first place. Because again, I felt like I was playing a role that was written for somebody else.
Yeah.
But I was trying to like, fit into the shoe that wasn't mine. And I don't look back with any sort of like resentment or anything. I feel so bad for that kid. I feel so bad for that kid that was yelling at his dad that he wanted to die. Because he wasn't trying to cause pain or anything like that. He was in pain. And so it's like, I wish, then the whole point of this, like I said, I wish that kid could hear my story today. You know what I mean? Like that's what chokes me up
Yeah.
because that's real.
Yeah, man. There are a lot of kids like that right now. And I love that you're doing this from that perspective. Um, yeah. Yeah, man. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's I gotta share.
Yeah.
As painful as it might be, like, as you know, like your story is an example of like what perseverance and faith can get you through. Not only like faith in yourself, but like faith in a higher plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like knowing that you're destined for something more
Yeah.
and knowing that what that is helping people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of parallels in our story. I mean, just with how we related and the reality of what was happening in our life and just the sheer pain that the sheer pain that I learned, probably not intentionally, how to tolerate.
Hmm.
Um, and it's very interesting because, yeah, I realized that on some level, I was able to take on so much suffering,
Hmm.
but it's that suffering that has now provided the capacity for me to like really hold for people.
Yeah.
The last like 7 years have been like a lot of work on just the pain. And there's so much of it,
Yeah.
so much of it buried deep, so much of it. And when I look at like why I do what I do right now, it's to support people in freeing that. I was more committed to the pain than I was to listening to God.
That's a strong statement.
Because that was what was real in the moment. I mean, we look at how we are biologically designed, like our minds, our egos, they choose pleasure all the time over
Yeah.
pain.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm committed to not feeling pain, but when my energy is involved in that, then I'm not focused on anything else. And I'm not saying it's 100% of the time, but like majority of the time I was committed to the pain, which caused me to be a people pleaser or hide or play small or doubt myself. Like if there was anything that I did consistently, it was self-doubt.
Yeah.
I felt like the doubt felt like a jackhammer, literally.
Yeah.
Right. But that was all the side effect of pain that I just had not resolved or processed or allowed myself to feel. And it was years of it. I mean, yeah, my upbringing, the separation with my mom and my dad, my mom's pain being taken out on me because, again, she didn't have the tools or resources that we have now to help move that. And my mom, I say this with so much pride. I'm so proud of the relationship I have with my parents now because of the level of like, yeah, like I feel like the work I did in myself to free myself from needing them to be anything else
Yeah.
than what I needed.
Amen.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, but that's what there's a lot of pain in the world.
For sure.
And stories like this or what you're offering, I think can help people validate it. Because I remember as a kid how invalidated I felt. And there's nothing worse than the invalidation of your own real experience.
Yeah.
And I think when we can offer the perspective like you're doing with your story to people so that they know they're not alone, then they can actually have the opportunity to release it.
I was
Because
just about to say release it.
when my story is invalidated, then I feel like I'm the only one that's going through it.
Yeah.
And then I isolate myself. And when I'm on my own island, that's where like all the shit gets you.
You're alone on your own island. It's a deserted island, my friend.
Yeah, I'm lonely. And then I'm away from people. And then I can't receive help. I can't receive support. I can't be seen. I can't be acknowledged. I can't be loved on. I can't be held. So this is why I think at this moment in time, it's important for what you're doing to be done because this is why stories have been timeless.
Yeah,
Stories have been the thing that have been told before writing was invented.
yeah,
It is stories that keep us going. And the reality of that is like people need what you're doing, man.
yeah. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. It means a lot, especially because again, you've been through it.
Yeah.
So to know that that's coming from like a
Yeah.
piece or a part of you that's experienced
Yeah.
that, like
Yeah.
the Bible is full of stories that are still very
It's all
prevalent
stories.
today.
It's all stories.
It's all stories.
Timeless.
Exactly, they're timeless. And you know, these stories again, people are living them still. And there's so many times where you can go back into the Bible and read and find what you're looking for today in a modern world. And yeah, man, going back to like you're saying that you're very proud of your relationship with your parents. Same, like you know, again, unfortunately, my dad passed away in '09.
Do you feel them?
All the time.
Yeah.
I feel him in me. Like I feel his blood coursing through my veins. Yeah, for sure. It's
Yeah.
wild to think
Yeah.
about.
I see you.
Yeah, it's wild to think about. Like I still feel him. Like he's very much part. My middle name is my dad's first name, and I'm the only kid that my dad named. Yeah, which is weird because there's six of us, and out of the six of us, I'm the only one that my dad picked the name. And I asked my mom why, and she's like, I don't know. She's like I don't. There wasn't like a particular reason. I don't know why she. I don't know why he named you Nicholas. Yeah, Nicholas Oscar is my name. Like that is, and so I very much I have his name tattooed on my arm, his signature tattooed because he was very proper, like coming from Colombia, so he was very proud of his signature. So I was like, I don't want to. I do have his initials with his zodiac sign tattooed, but I was like, I want a signature because I was as a young man, he told me he's like, have a good signature, have a good signature, have a good handshake, like be a good man. Um, but yeah, I feel him all the time.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I very that like honestly, when he passed away, like within like in that moment, in that very moment, I was like, people that didn't know my dad will never know me. Like, will never truly know me. And I felt bad. I was like, my future wife will never know my dad. Like I had those kind of moments, like in like literally like when it happened. Um, yeah, I mean that's why like I'm going back to Colombia in April,
Mm.
and like I love when I the very first time, the only time I've been there was in 2016, and it was weird of a weird feeling of like I've been here,
Mm.
and I was like that's my dad. Yeah, I was like very like I was like this is familiar
Yeah.
in a strange land, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
familiar. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was one of those things where I was like oddly comfortable there.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Roots, bro.
Roots,
Roots.
yeah,
It's
honestly,
roots.
yeah, but my relationship with my mom is great, like,
Yeah.
I love her so much, and I can talk to her as an adult now. Like I said, I share stories on here that I know are difficult for her
Yeah.
to relive
Yeah.
because she comes from a generation where, like, they didn't really get to process that, and she married my dad at, like, 18, 19 years old, um, and all she knew was motherhood, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All she knew from that time on was motherhood, and she never got to have time to herself, like, that's one thing, like, I don't ever hold any of that because, again, I'm so grateful for how I was raised and the lessons she provided and the things I learned even just from watching her and hearing her, like, I talk to her daily. I call my mom every day. Yeah, and it's something that, like, I cherish that, and I think anyone that's lost a parent or lost someone loved ones, um, you understand that, like, I will do everything to make sure that my mom knows that, like, she means the world to me, and
Yeah.
it's because I lost my dad, and I my dad, him and I had a very good relationship.
Yeah.
He was very hard on me for sure. But a couple months before he passed away, we had like our first like adult man to man conversation,
Clearing
and I felt like I
conversation.
saw
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
him in that moment. And that's what I always like go back to
Yep.
when I think about my dad. Is I go back to that conversation.
Yeah. I've had that. I've had that with my dad too.
Yeah. Is he still alive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You in communication with him?
Yep.
Nice.
Not as frequently, but it's healthy right now,
That's good.
and which is because for the longest I use this word, and I don't often use it because it's a very strong word, but I at least I thought right, but I resented and I hated him,
Wow.
and the last words I said to him before what he left was, "If you leave, I'm gonna hate you." Or
Mm,
him and my mom were going through stuff, right? And I'm four now. Again, I remember the scene. Like I'm sitting at the dining table. This is when we were in LA. So we moved to LA from London.
okay.
Okay. I'm eating Frosted Flakes before all the shit was added to it recently.
I loved Frosted Flakes. My dad was the one that loved Frosted Flakes.
Warm milk and Frosted Flakes.
Dude, my dad would put Frosted Flakes in the microwave.
Yes.
Dude, and I still do that, and people think it's disgusting. Well, I mean, I don't still do it because I don't really eat Frosted Flakes anymore. But I talk about like how much I loved putting Frosted Flakes in the microwave, and people are like, "You're so gross."
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, it was like sugary oatmeal.
Bro.
Yeah.
And they, I heard them like going through what they were going through, and my mom came to me like in distress. Hey, your dad's leaving. So those words I said to him, I didn't want him to leave. What 4-year-old wants their? Well, I didn't want my dad to leave.
Yeah, you wanted to say the most hurtful thing you could say to make sure he didn't leave.
It was a plea for him to stay.
Yeah.
And he left. So in that moment, because as children, we're egocentric, meaning like we take responsibility for everything that happened. So I thought it was my fault that he left. And then you add on top of that, just, how he was painted to me, because I'm 4, I haven't fully got to experience him. So the image of him that was painted on me was not good. So it just grew into resentment and hate. And then over the years, I just worked through layers of it. Like I said, it was like the mind stuff, the story stuff, the belief stuff. And I realized like there were still things that I was still triggered by. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, there's still something there, right? Yeah. And then obviously I did my own like deep inner shadow work, emotional work. Did a lot of work with the little boy that experienced that. And then it wasn't until 4 years ago. Again, this is like, I'm talking about, this is a course of 10 years of just working through layers of it. 4 years ago, was coming from a workout here in Austin. And I just like was relaxing. Well, that morning, actually, I had meditated. I sat in stillness and the voice was like, call your dad. And I'm like, what? I had not spoken to him in like 3 months at that point.
Okay.
Call your dad. Like, what? Call your dad. So I went to this workout and then I sat in the car after we were done. And I was like, oh, okay, this is the moment I'm calling him. So I called him, he picks up. And I've had this conversation with him before about just wanting to know his upbringing so I can understand like who he was that caused him to make the decision that he did.
Yeah.
But in those moments, I was still heavily charged. The little boy was still hurt.
Yeah.
So my listening was different. At this point, though, I'm married with a child.
Yeah.
So now I feel like the level field was parallel.
Yeah, yeah.
The playing field was level, right?
Yeah.
And I not only asked him about his upbringing again, my listening was different, but I also asked him, I said, hey, so what really happened between you and mom?
The first time you've ever asked this. Okay.
It's so funny because I was not in the space to, because I was so hurt, still like encompassed by my pain, but also my mom's towards him.
Yeah.
So there was no way I was asking him about his side of the story. But I was like, let me ask.
Yeah, as a man.
What happened? And for the first time in I think like 25, 26 years, I heard my dad's side of the story.
Wow.
And knowing who my mom is, and maybe there was some embellishment there, right?
Sure.
But knowing who my mom is and how she can be, in that moment, there was, and this is just me, there was no need to forgive.
Yeah.
Because I saw him. And I said, if I had the upbringing you had, the conditioning and programming you had, the consciousness you had, who's to say that I wouldn't make the same decision you made?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying a father should leave their child. I don't advocate for that at all.
Sure.
Like, because more than ever, children need dads.
Yeah, yeah.
We need fathers.
We need a strong male presence, for sure.
We need fathers. But I also understood with so much love that, yeah, you made a decision in a situation that probably was not healthy. Did it involve you leaving me? Yes. But here's also one thing I know about my dad. His love for me, because I'm his only son. He hasn't had another kid after me. His love for me knows no bounds. Like every time I had spoken to him over the years, you can hear the the angst, you can hear the guilt, you can hear just everything in him wanting to make up for what he did. So I knew his love was there. Just what I wanted more than all of that was his presence there when I need him the most, during puberty, during my upbringing, when I needed to have my rites of passage going from a boy to man. Like, God had to provide that for me.
Yeah.
Like, I had to go through many initiations in my own life to go through the transition to becoming a man, right? But I think that's what fathers are for that specific reason, especially with boys.
Right.
And I'm sorry that you had to experience your father, passing, but my relationship with him right now is solid, and it is what it is, um, in whatever capacity, because I understand.
Yeah.
I don't hold anything against him. Um, my kids know of him,
Yeah.
which is great.
Yeah, that is great.
My kids know my mom. They speak to them. They speak to my mom almost like every day, which is like incredible.
It's amazing.
But yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, we live in such a beautiful time of healing, but also like recognition of like we do need a masculine energy,
Yes.
even with that healing.
Yes.
Because I honestly, it almost feels like my relationship with my dad today is better than when he was alive. Because I think he saw so much of himself in me when I was a child that like he was angry. He was angry, and I don't think my dad was an angry person in nature. I think he was a passionate person by nature.
Yeah.
And I think that misdirected passion. Absolutely, absolutely misdirected passion, because his family, like, they were pretty well off in Colombia. Like, they had horses and stuff like that. They were doing okay in Colombia. And I think he saw that, like, his passion didn't provide what he wanted for his family. And that turned into what could be perceived as anger.
Yeah.
And I think he saw a lot of that in myself, and not necessarily like pushing myself as hard as I could have. So a lot of that anger got directed towards me.
Yep.
But I see that now as a 37-year-old man. I'm like, I don't hold any of that against my dad. Because again, he didn't have the tools at that time. Yeah, he didn't know. But again, the one thing that I told you before we started, I'll never doubt that he loved me. He was there for everything. He was at my baseball games. Like, he might have been yelling to like, and like people's attention, like he's yelling at his son, but not ever like degrading or anything like that. He never like belittled. Yeah, it was passion. It was passion, and it's the same passion I feel coursing through my veins today. And it's like, you have to control that though, because that passion can be portrayed as anger. And recently, actually, my little sister kind of had that conversation with me. She's like, you need to not have like angry outbursts. And I'm like, I never saw that, but I see what you're talking about. And it's one of those things, like I said, we live in a time where we're fortunate that we get to reflect on such things, and everybody is one click away. You know what I mean? Like, I can have a conversation with you one click away to where I can express, like, as a man, like, hey, help me. And that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
But our dads didn't have access to that.
Yep.
Yeah, your dad leaving might have been the best thing that he thought he was doing. And maybe he thought he was doing the best thing for you. Because again, like, my parents had talks when I was younger about like getting divorced and separating. And even my freshman year of college, I remember my mom calling me, like telling me that they were going to get divorced. And it never came to fruition. But in that moment, as like an 18-year-old boy, again, thinking it's your fault or being selfish, like, no, you can't. Like, I don't want to have two separate Christmases. You know what I mean? Like, I want my family. Because again, I know how strong my family is.
Right.
And I know like the blood that runs through all of our veins, and that we are stronger as one.
Yep.
And that was my belief. But again, in that moment, that he might have thought he was doing his best.
That was real, You said something about anger. I think it's just in my line of work and what I've just witnessed. It's one of the most unprocessed emotions in society today, with men and women. And fear is kind of normal. And I say that because, I mean, we're bombarded with it every day, right? It's like,
you turn on your TV and there's fear.
It's like, it's an accepted emotion. But anger, it's one of those, we make it covert because of how destructive it can be.
Yeah. It's ugly.
But it's necessary in healthy ways for especially men to express it, because anger is a protective emotion. And I think about my life and how many times that my protection or safety was violated.
Yeah.
And when my boundaries are violated, that's anger is a natural response to that to help reinforce that not happening again. But you think on a social level or collective level, how many of our boundaries have been violated?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So I think anger is necessary to be felt in safe environments so it does not deteriorate the individual from the inside out. And
That's so well said.
I see it.
Yeah.
It's we don't know the impact of it, but these unresolved situations from our past, it eats us, especially men.
Yeah.
That's why men commit suicide at a 4 times higher rate than women.
Yeah.
Because they don't feel it's it's safe for them to tell another man or to tell somebody that, hey, I'm struggling.
Yeah. Yeah, because it appears weak. It appears weak, and that was the conversation I had with my sister. I was like, "I don't wanna look weak to the family." Like, it's so hard for me to the one time, it was like the day after my dad passed
Right,
away. I did it one time. I
right.
cried to my mom saying, "I'm sorry I couldn't save dad." Yeah, and that was like I was like, "I'm never doing that again."
Never do nothing. Right,
Yeah.
right, right. But thank you for sharing, bro, because this is a bigger platform that now you're showing what I like to consider the real strength with this vulnerability.
Yeah.
And vulnerability is just honesty, man. And that has been my saving grace in times when I'm too much in my head.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm trying to appear perfect. So let me just tell the truth. Let me
Yeah.
tell the truth about who I am and where I'm at. And 100% of the time, there's been at least one person, there's been way more that they feel, it's not that they feel, it's bigger than feeling seen. It's the pressure that they put on themselves to be perfect in a world that's asking for that now gets to be alleviated.
Yeah, you don't have to have that facade.
No. And
Yeah.
now the island that we put ourselves on, we come out of it because like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm not the only one. I
Right.
belong because I'm not the only one that's going through this.
Absolutely, and that's been, part of this journey is
Yeah.
realizing I'm not alone.
No.
Like, there are so many people out there, but so many people need to hear it because everyone feels alone. Everyone thinks that, like, "No, my journey is my own." And it's like, "No, no, no. I am also going through this. Let's go together."
And
Yeah.
there's so much, I mean, if I didn't hear your story today, I wouldn't even known that there's so many parallels.
Same.
Like, there's so
Yeah,
many parallels.
Nicole, like, hinted at it, but she was, again,
Yeah.
like, not trying to tell your
Like,
story
yeah,
to me.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, "You should talk to Samson." And
Yeah.
this is a year and a half
Bro,
before
it's
I
been,
even thought
yeah,
about having a
yeah.
podcast.
Because it's pregnancy and the 10 months. So it's been a year and a half
Yeah,
at least. Yeah.
and again, this is that moment. She was like, "You should talk to Samson."
Yeah.
And I didn't know why.
Yeah.
But she heard a little bit of my story and was like, "Yeah, you should definitely talk to
Yeah.
Samson." And I'm glad that she said that.
I'm glad to be here, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, again, this is something I've been looking forward to for a
Yeah.
while. Having you on, it was nerve-wracking because I was wondering, like, what emotions it was gonna bring out in me, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
To let that out and to feel those emotions because so often we hide them because, again, the facade. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, dude, yeah, again, just blessed to have you on. Grateful that you came out here.
Yeah, man.
What's going on now? What's next for you? When did you come out to Austin and what are you doing out here now?
Great question. So, I mean, we came to Austin just during COVID, just because we were in California and things were just unpredictable. And again, it's like, so in the last 10 years, I've probably moved like 10 or 11 times.
Oh, wow.
Um, some of that is because just unfortunate reasons where either, we weren't re-signing leases or people wanted to move back. But a lot of those times was we got a hit to like, okay, you need to go here. And Austin was one of those situations. One, the circle of people that were coming here.
Mhm.
So it was great as a developmental grounds for me to, I would say, move on to the next stage of like my life and where I felt like my soul or God was pulling me towards. And now that I'm here, the work is evolved into really helping people with their inner work. Um, at first it was the external, it was like the physical, it was the health and fitness, which I still do. I still do that. But so much of what sustains that is what's happening internally. Trees are some of my favorite teachers just because there's so much wisdom in just them being there. And, you know, one thing that I learned from trees is just the majesty that exists above ground, the leaves, the shelter they provide for other life forms, the fruit that they bear, the shade that they provide, the strength that they are, that you can like lean on them, right? Doesn't happen without the roots underground. So for me, that's been that's been the thing for me. Integrative transformational guide, if you want to give it a title, which is just more the holistic approach in supporting people. But I think one of the greatest gifts that God is giving me is to be able to just like be with people and feel them and see them and see them through the eyes of non-judgment.
Yeah.
And what's helped me do that, especially, you know, these years in Austin, is just more and more layers of accepting my own humanity. And the more I do that, the more I get to see people so they can come off that island. I think more than ever, we need people to be in their magic, to be in their mission, to express what God has on their hearts. But so much of the commitment to the pain and the fear and the stories and the beliefs from, you know, past experiences hinders that.
Society.
Yeah, it hinders that. Um, I was just thinking the other day how so much of the marketing markets to people's trauma.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, okay, like when I help people and I don't do anything, I'm very vocal about this. Like I'm just there to help people remind them of what already exists there.
Yeah.
But when I help people do that, then they're not slaves or puppets to the
Propaganda.
matrix.
Yeah. The Matrix. Yeah.
To the matrix, if you
Yeah.
will.
You're giving
So,
them permission to be
yes.
them.
And for me, that's what feels so real and true in my heart. It feels God led.
Oh man, I love that. God led.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm all about pursuing dreams that are destined to fail without divine intervention.
Oh, say that again.
I'm all about pursuing dreams that are destined to fail without divine intervention.
Oh,
Give it to God. Man, that is so much of what I'm doing now. Again, I told you, I was like, I felt like coming into this studio, like as immaculate as it is, I feel like a T-baller in Yankee Stadium. But God put me here. And I have to believe that's for a reason.
How many times are you going to be a beginner?
Every day. You know what I mean? I am so in the belief of I'm nothing without God.
Same.
And I'm starting over. I'm giving it to him daily. Like I give myself to him daily. Like I am nothing without you. Guide me. I will follow the footsteps you put out there. But you have to follow.
Yep.
You cannot stay where you are.
You have to listen.
You have to listen.
Listen. It's like what I've learned is that God often speaks in whispers because it forces you to be present.
Yeah. And stop talking. You won't hear that whisper if you're talking.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of Miles Monroe.
Mm-mm.
He's he's passed, but he was a pastor from Bahamas.
Okay.
And I still listen to his stuff, you know, here and there. And he says, he said, when you pray, he said, talk for 10 minutes, listen for 60. And what he was saying, he's like, you talk too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said, you wonder why things aren't moving in your life because you talk too much. Listen, be directed, be guided. And that's been it's like, I just listen.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Love that. All right, man. I think that's a good place to end it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tell the people where to find you.
Currently, I'm on Instagram, Samson_strength, as we are revamping a lot of the operations. But yeah, that's where you can find me. So feel free to send me a message, ask questions. I'll be more than happy to respond. And, you know, I love having conversations. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I mean, again, getting stories out there.
Yeah.
You see so many parallels that we would have never have known.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and I want to talk more to you about breathwork, like as we go, because that's something that I've very lightly dabbled into.
Of course.
And I think there's a lot of strength in that.
Of course. I mean, I have since we're cut. I mean, I got at least like 20 or 30 stories where people have had direct contact with God.
Oh, nice. I'm all for that.
Direct, and I'm not saying like that's like a reason, right? But it's like it's one of those practices that just gets this out of the way, and it's like, oh, like
yeah, and you need to get that out of the way. Because again, there are so many voices in there that are not from
They're
God.
not yours.
They're not yours, man. They're commercials, they're movies we watched
Yes.
growing up. It's
Yes.
whatever
Commercials.
billboards we saw. They were like, "Oh, I'm not that guy." You know what I mean? It's like, no, you're exactly who God meant you to be.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the Lions Pit podcast. Again, I'm your host, Nick Gomez. With me today is the amazing Samson Odusanya. Again, so grateful that you came, man. I appreciate it. Looking forward to more conversations. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, brother.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Shout out to LSKD, the fine folks over there, supporting me with the finest workout apparel. Grateful for y'all as well. Don't forget to tune in next week.